Today, we will see the idea of permutation in word arrangements. Now, the main idea here is that we can use the idea of permutation, which we have discussed previously, to answer the question, in how many ways can we rearrange a word? Now, words are made out of letters. You can rearrange those letters to make a new word. That is the question that we're going to try to answer. Given a certain amount of letters that are in a word, how many ways can we rearrange those letters and still make a new word? For that, we use the idea of permutation. Now, let's see some examples. Let's start with something simple. Now here it says, find the different ways to arrange the following words. So let's look at the first example here, which is just the word cat. Now, how many ways can you rearrange the word cat? Well, notice that you can rearrange it. Well, first, let's start with the first one. So cat can be written as cat. Now you can also rearrange the letters and rewrite tat, and also CTA, and also TCA, and also ACT, and also ATC. Now, notice that here, there's 6 ways for us to rewrite just the word cat. Now, in mathematics, there's a rule that says that you can rearrange any letter, or any word, if you want to find how many ways can you rearrange it, that is equal to just n factorial, where n is how many letters? How many letters in the word? So now let's look at the first example here. How many letters do we have? We have 3 letters, CTA. So let's see if this is true. We know that we can rearrange it and come up with 6 different ways. So at least in this example, n is 3 because we got 3 letters. So if we follow this rule, then we know that we can have 3 factorial, which we know this is 3 times 2 times 1, which is exactly 6, which matches into how many ways we can rearrange a word. So here the main idea is that if you're trying to rearrange a word, all you gotta do is just count how many letters are in that word and take the factorial of it. So notice here that if you want to see how many ways can we rewrite the word watch, well, all we gotta do is just count how many letters are in it. So we want to see how many ways we can rearrange the word watch. So how many letters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we know that n is 5, which is that's how many letters there are. So if we want to find out how many ways we can rearrange this word, so that's going to be equal to 5 factorial, which is equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which we can use our calculator to just find out what 5 factorial is. So that's going to be 5 mathematics, probability, option 4. There's equal to 120 ways. Now we're not going to rewrite the 120 ways which you can rewrite watch, but just notice that this is a rule in mathematics. If you want to rearrange some kind of a word, all you got to do is just count how many letters are they and take the factorial of it. Now sometimes it's not as easy as this, because if we look at example 3, there's something different here. And that is in example 1 and example 2. So here notice that in cat, not a single letter repeats, it's just CAT. Notice that in example 2, not a single letter repeats. So WATCH, not a single letter repeat. So that's why we can just take the factorial of it. But notice now here in example 3, there's a letter that repeats, which is the O. So we can still use the same idea, but now we got to take in consideration the amount of letters that get repeated. So that is, if we want to find out how many ways we can rearrange the word moon, knowing that there's a letter that repeats, we got to do an extra step. And that is, we need to notice what's the letter that has been repeated. which in this case O is a letter that has been repeated, and O is being repeated 2 times. So if we want to use our formula, which is a factorial, we can still use the same ideas on top, but now we gotta divide it by the amount of times that the letter is being repeated. So notice here that we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna have there's 4 letters that we can choose from. So that's 4 factorial divided by the amount of times that each letter gets repeated. Here, O is the only letter that is get repeated. So I just need to divide this by 2 factorial. And now that we have that, we can use our calculator. So we're gonna have 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial, which is equal to just 12. Again, all we did is the numerator is still how many letters are in total. And we need to divide it by how many letters gets repeated. So that's why moon has 4 letters. So that's why it's 4 factorial in the top divided by, here O gets repeated 2 times. So I need to divide it by 2 factorial. So now, let's look at a more complicated example, which is your favorite word by now, which is mathematics. So now again, we want to see how many ways can we rearrange the word mathematics. Well, again, you need to do 2 things. Count how many letters are they. So in mathematics, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters. So here N, it's 11. Now let's see, what are the letters that gets repeated? Here I see that A gets repeated twice. Is there another letter that gets repeated? It seems that that's pretty much it. M, oh no, here, N, I'm sorry. M gets repeated twice. So 2 times. Is there any other letter that gets repeated? T, whoops, okay. T gets repeated 2 times as well. H, nope. E, no. C, no. S, no. Okay, excellent. So now that we have this piece of information, knowing that there's 11 letters, and A gets repeated twice, M gets repeated twice, T gets repeated twice, then we can just find out how many ways can we rearrange the word mathematics. So that will be on the numerator is how many letters there are in total, which in this case is 11. So on the numerator, it's 11 factorial. Now in the denominator, A gets repeated twice, so that's 2 factorial. This factorial counts for the A. Then we gotta multiply by 2 factorial again because M gets repeated twice. And you gotta multiply that by 2 factorial again because T gets repeated twice. So on the numerator, you gotta put a factorial according to each letter. This 2 factorial comes from A being counted twice. This 2 factorial comes from M being repeated twice. And this 2 factorial comes from the T being repeated twice. So if we do this in the calculator, we have the following. Okay, turn this on. So we got 11. Oops. So we got 11 factorial divided by, there's more than 1 factorial in the denominator, so open a parenthesis. So that's 2 factorial times another 2 factorial times 2 factorial again. Notice that this is what we wanted. Press enter. So that's how many ways we can rearrange the word mathematics, which is a lot. We're not going to write them out here, but just trust me. So now here, this is how you can rearrange any word using the idea of permutation. So now, here's your entrance ticket. Find the different ways to rearrange the word Brooklyn.